Did you really think about that all day?
Oops. That was an accident.
I don't think it was an accident. I think that was on purpose.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, oh yeah, it's that time of year. It is playoff baseball time. The National League Divisional Series is getting ready to kick off Game 2 with the Philadelphia Phillies down in Atlanta, down in hot Atlanta.
Down in Atlanta doing what the Phillies do, take care of the Braves.
You got it. And that's what we're going to talk about here. Thank you for watching. If you're watching the Sports Porch Philadelphia on social media, we are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn, we are on X, we are on all kinds of YouTube. We're all over the world. We're all over the world.
Everywhere. You can catch us from anywhere. That's
right. And you can always grab the podcast, the Sports Porch Philadelphia, on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And if you want to check us out online, come on over to the Porch at theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com.
Theporcheslive.com. Click on the Philadelphia tab, the only tab one that matters.
It's the only one. All right, listen, everybody wants to start watching this game, and we've got it on two screens here in our studio, which we have now retooled, so it's a little bit of a different look and a different vibe.
Yeah, different.
I kind of like it.
Oh, I think it's great.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Well done.
I really appreciate you recognizing my hard work.
Yeah, so Phillies got Zach Wheeler on the mound tonight. First pitch will be thrown by the Braves' Max Fried in less than 5 minutes.
You got it.
And we'll be breaking in with any kind of real-time game updates as they happen. So,
as if you can't find it anywhere.
So don't go anywhere. Just stay here with us, and we will follow the game with you. But first, I think what we need to do is we need to talk about Game 1.
3-0.
3-0. Phillies go into Atlanta and blank the Atlanta Braves, who had not been shut out at home all season.
Yeah, and we talked about this before the series started. You know, I think we both predicted a sweep with the Marlins, and that happened.
Oh, we did, yes.
And going into Atlanta, the ridiculous way they don't see baseball,
right.
But we were having a discussion off air, and I said, look, I think the Phillies are the one team that is truly not afraid of the Braves.
Did you know that the Phillies have never lost a postseason series to the Braves?
And they still haven't.
Yeah. But they got to win 2 more. And, you know, let's also... You know, this is kind of the pivotal game, because obviously the Braves win, they're back in it. If they lose, you know, I mean, you never say never, but it would almost feel like they're cooked. Would you agree with that?
If they lose tonight?
The Braves. Yeah. If the Braves lose, they're cooked.
If the Braves lose,
you know, they'd be down 2-0, and they'd be going back to Philadelphia for 2 games. Where the Phillies have the best win percentage of any home park in Major League Baseball history.
Yeah.
I mean, look, anything.
Look, you don't want to jinx them. I don't want to say the Braves are cooked and jinx them. So
you don't want to. Well, no, I'm saying they'd be cooked if they lost this game.
Yeah, if the Braves lose this game and go down 2-0, yeah, it would be a story if they came back.
Right. It would be exactly. It'd be like one of the greatest comebacks in baseball history.
Yeah.
Which basically means it's,
which would suck for us.
It would suck for us, but it also means that, you know, time is not on your side.
Yeah.
For the Braves.
Well, let's talk about the first game real quick. I mean, I think it really made a statement Harper homered. They shut out the Braves. Trey Turner had that incredible double play ball near the end of the game when they would have scored a run if he didn't pull that off. And I know there's been some question about, Topper pulling a pitcher that ended up. I mean, and that's the thing about baseball. You make a decision. If it goes the wrong way, you made the wrong decision. If it goes the right way, you're a genius. So, not that anybody said he's a genius, but Hoffman gets the win. Kimbrell gets the save. Kimbrell. That's how I like to say it. Yeah. That's
yeah. I mean, I have to tell you, look, I appreciate that. I appreciate that Topper made all the right moves, pushed all the right buttons, and won the game. But I still got to disagree with taking Power Ranger Suarez out of the game as he retires 11 batters and gives up an infield single and what was more or less an error to get the second guy on board. You got 2 outs. Nobody's even hit the ball hard against Ranger. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. Now did he say something after the game at the presser? Did they ask him about it? Well, apparently it was sort of the game plan going in.
Okay.
That he would use a lot of bullpen arms because it was a Saturday game. They didn't play on Thursday and Friday, so everybody was well rested. They knew that they had Sunday off. So anybody that pitched on Saturday could pitch on Monday. So he, obviously
sounds way too complicated to me. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean, and the other thing that was actually kind of curious about it as well is that, look, I understand, some people feel the Phillies bullpen is a strength, and I think it's certainly a positive.
Yeah.
But at times they've kind of struggled throughout the end of the season a little bit.
So we're watching. We've got the game up on a couple screens right now. So they've got the lineups up and they're getting ready for the first pitch. But go ahead.
So here was the other thing that kind of befuddled me a little bit. So to me, the Phillies' best reliever is Jose Alvarado. When I want to get the last 3 outs, that's who I want in the game.
Right.
And look, I understand if you're going to go with Kimbrell as the guy there, okay. But I want, Alvarado in the 8th inning. Okay. I can't remember exactly which, but I think he had Alvarado pitch the 6th inning. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like, what are we doing here? I mean, we brought in a rookie. Now, granted, he's a highly touted rookie. Okay.
Right.
And he's supposedly got some special stuff, and he really has looked pretty darn good, but like we're bringing him in the playoffs against the Braves in the 8th inning.
I mean,
it worked. It worked, but wow, that's some kind of move. I mean,
you got to take chances to win championships.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you do.
You absolutely do. So as we're talking, Kyle Schwarber is leading off right now in game 2. And
by the way, he almost had a Schwarbomb to lead off against Spencer Strider.
Yeah.
It went off the top of the wall.
Nice.
So it was a shame. It was like a line drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what? I think the Phillies are in great shape. That win was a statement win. They shut out the Braves in Atlanta. It doesn't get much better than that. And now they definitely, they had momentum going into the playoffs, and that momentum is continuing. Even if they don't win tonight,
right,
there's still, I think, momentum is on their side, and they know this team. So I don't think that I'm not really worried. I'll be worried if they're down 2-1. If they lose the next 2, then we got a problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
I agree. I mean, that's why, you really want to take this game tonight with your best pitcher on the mound who can go deep into a game.
Right. And that's going to be the key. And we are amazingly distracted as we watch the game.
That's okay.
Maybe we should just call the game, Schwaber. I mean,
that's okay.
It's 2-2 on Schwarber in the top of the first. Max Fried is on the mound. I got two different screens going right now.
Yeah, it's 3-2.
Yeah,
it's actually 3-2 on the faster TV.
Now it's 3-2. I know. Oh yes, it's 3-2. Okay, I see the one that's live. You got it. So, and it looks like Schwarber is he's attempting a Schwarbomb. It's to the track. About 6 feet.
6 feet away.
6 feet away from a Schwarbomb.
But putting them on notice.
Yes.
Putting them on notice.
Hold on. We got somebody who's leaving comments here that I'm really not appreciative of.
Yeah, I think we gotta cut him out.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. Don't worry, I'm working on it. So anyway, that's how the Phillies go. I think right now that since we have the game on right now, there's not much more to talk about other than to say, look, hey, they won the first game. They won it in great fashion.
Yeah.
And
it's game 2 time.
Let's go Fightins. You know, that's what we got to do.
Yep. So there's another team in town.
Who would that be?
That would be
the Eagles.
The Eagles.
Yeah, they are 5-0.
Who are 5-0, one of two teams. The other, the San Francisco 49ers, as I like to call them.
Hey, it's Doug from Curly's.
Doug, hey, what's up, Doug? Good to hear from you.
Let's go fight.
Yeah.
Fight. Is this the guy whose name you couldn't remember?
It possibly could be.
You still can't remember.
Possibly could be.
Doug, listen, from the bottom of my heart, I'm going to tell you, I would remember your name. But you know, I can't speak for my co-host here. He's just way too into the Phillies winning the World Series this year.
I mean,
we're glad you're here.
Part of the problem is, you know, when all of a sudden, you know, you're
there it is.
There it is. Okay, so
that's good humor. Yeah,
and I got you now for life, Doug. Douglas. I got you for life now.
Yeah. Well, you're such a big superstar. How could you remember anybody's name?
Well, that's the thing.
All the autographs.
That's the thing. All the autographs, all the people. You know, but Doug did stand out to me. I mean, I could pick him out of a lineup for sure.
Right.
So he was a great guy, and you know, it was awesome being a Curly's. So shout out to Curly's one more time.
We're gonna be shouting out to Curly's for a long time
because Curly's was awesome.
Yeah. And hey, listen, Doug, thanks. Appreciate you being here. Really do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the Eagles are 5-0, and you know, are they still? Is it still a disappointing 5-0 to you?
I don't think so at this point.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know, they're beating everybody. The last 2 games, I think they've played pretty well.
Right.
You know, look, I mean, they're not exactly clicking on all cylinders, like the
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner just doubled. They're not with it coming back from an 0-2 count, nonetheless.
There you go. Listen, folks, this is Superman in action right here. He's
got that a run?
No, he's got
that's Trey Turner.
That's on the slower TV.
Slower TV
that's the
got
one you got to watch.
Slower TV got me.
This is a Superman over here. So, and actually, to make it easier, if you're watching us live, I'm going to switch art. There we go. So now it looks like I'm looking at you. But Superman here is talking about the Eagles while he's keeping track of the pitch count. And it is 1-0 Phillies now.
1-0 Phils.
Yeah.
So Bohm singled him in.
Yeah. Looks like he did.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Excellent.
So anyway, is it still a disappointing 5-0? That's like
no, it's not a disappointing 5-0 because the last 2 games they've played pretty well, and you know, I think you get to the point where awesome Steve is going to be going to Curly's on Friday afternoon. That's awesome.
Our co-host on our Pittsburgh show is going to be at Curly's Friday afternoon. His both of his kids actually ended up going to Temple University. So there's another connection there. So Steve looks forward to that, I'm sure. So let's try to talk about the Eagles. Let's bring it back to the Eagles.
Let's bring it back to the Eagles.
Distracting here.
So, you know, they played well the last two games, and you know, at some point, you know, look, 5-0 is 5-0. You're finding a way to win in multiple different ways. You're winning when you're not playing your best. You're winning when you're playing well. You're winning with a good defensive effort. You're winning with a good offensive effort. You know, you're And Steve says, what the heck is going on with Devontae Smith? Nothing, Steve. Unfortunately, AJ Brown is a little better.
Well, right now, anyway. Yeah.
But look, don't worry about Devontae. He's going to get his 1,200 yards. He's going to get close to 100 catches. This happened a couple times last year where he had a game or two where he had 1 or 2 catches, but he'll pour it on at some point. So no worries there, Steve.
Yeah. And as of right now, he has 23 receptions for 290 yards. To AJ Brown's 35 for 541, and really AJ got off to the slower start.
Yeah, he had like the 1 catch or no catches in game 1,
and it was
in game 1 or something.
Yeah, and the game against the Commanders, he really kind of went off, and that was the game where I said you got to see him in the offense, and once you see him show his face in the offense, I think the Eagles are going to start. Things are going to start rolling for them. So I'm with you on that too.
Doug has a very nice point up here. You want to put up Doug's point?
Yeah, I will do that as soon as I find it. I was busy looking at it. Let's see what Doug has to say. The Eagles need to shore up their red zone performance. The D looks good. Jalen came out a little yesterday. It's certainly building in the right direction. Right.
So the Eagles red zone offense does need to improve.
Right.
But there's it's one of those things where not everything looks exactly as it seems sometimes. Like, so for example, there was a time in the red zone, yesterday where, if the Eagles kick a field goal, which they did, they go up 9 points and there's like 4 minutes left in the game and the Rams have to score twice. And it's very unlikely. Right. So, they ran it 3 times there, and like, can I really complain about that?
No,
because, they did what they needed to do to run the game. There's another team that I was watching this weekend called the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Which they could have done the same thing, but they threw it into the end zone and it got intercepted.
Yeah, that's true.
They
also took a 4th down at the end of the half when they should have kicked the field goal.
Right.
And it changed things. So, yeah.
Right. So, the way I sort of look at this right now is, look, if I have to compare the 49ers and the Eagles right now, the 49ers are the better team. They're playing better ball. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. However, at the same time, what I would say is that it doesn't matter if you're clicking on all cylinders now. What matters is that you're clicking on all cylinders, not even at the end of the year, but in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that it's really a tough call when there's 12 games left, because you can say it doesn't matter.
So much could happen.
Right. I mean, there could be an injury. They could just shit the bed. Teams have done that. Now, is that likely? Probably not.
Probably not. But yeah, look at the 11-0 Steelers.
You got
that one year,
a few years ago.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Right. Now, and the other thing too is, look. So now, Grant, again, 5 games into the season, so there's a lot that can happen. But yesterday's game, 49ers playing the Cowboys.
Yeah. They crushed them.
You really you wanted the 49ers to win that game. Now, some would say maybe not, because you're thinking like home field advantage, but that's too far down the road.
Yeah.
You have to worry about winning the division first.
That's right.
And now that you have a 2-game lead,
looks like we got bases loaded for the Phillies in the bottom of the first.
All right.
They just can't stop. Will somebody just stop this team?
And who's up but Bryson Stott?
You got it.
Yep.
Nicky Cass with a base hit. Now, why they didn't score? Well, it was he lined it into center field, I think, or no, left field. Yeah. So yeah, they weren't able to get the runner.
It was close.
Yeah,
close.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, so going back to the 49ers game, I'll tell you what, and I know that everybody's been singing the song 40 Winers, 40 Winers this past year since the Eagles beat them, but Brock Purdy looks like the real deal now.
He does. There's no doubt.
And I have to take credit where credit is due. I'm always willing to credit myself when I'm right. The first game I saw him play, what did I text you guys?
Hall of Fame.
You got it, baby.
But he's
on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
But you've also said that about some other players who, some of them are not in the NFL right now.
Who else have I said that about? I didn't say that about Kenny
You
Pickett.
said it about Duck Hodges.
I didn't mean it.
Yes, you did. You meant it.
I never meant it, Duck Hodges.
You meant it.
If anybody even remembers Duck Hodges outside of Pittsburgh, I'd be surprised. But anyway, so Purdy looks pretty good. I hate that. I hate the fact that his name is Purdy and you can say that. It's like almost destiny.
He's Purdy.
He's pretty good. But we were talking before the show, and the question that here you go, Sam Howell. I never said Sam Howell was going to be in the Hall of Fame, Steve. Come on, get real. Anyway, so the question we were talking about is, the Eagles play the 49ers this year. And I can look up what game it is. I'll go to their schedule. The Eagles are playing the 49ers December 3rd, week 13. And it is at home.
3-0. I think you got to take a pitch here.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's at home. So what would you rather do? Assuming that they're going to meet in the playoffs again.
Right.
Probably the championship game if they do.
Yep.
Would you rather win and beat them at home during the regular season and then have the confidence to maybe they have a better record than the Eagles, maybe they don't. We right now they're both 5-0, so right now it's a toss up. You'd have to go to the tiebreakers to see who would play, what stadium they would play in. Or would you rather lose to them in the regular season and then not have the pressure of having to beat them twice and, in the second time being in the playoffs? Which way would you rather have it?
Well, as we were talking about this earlier, I would rather win twice. if that's the way to go.
Yeah, of course.
But if you're saying to me, I'm going to lose one, I'm going to win one, I'd probably rather lose the regular season game and have to go on the road to San Francisco with them feeling all chesty about themselves, and just shock them, in their own home ballpark.
Yeah.
Now at the same time, I think obviously, part one is win the division. Part two is try to get the 1 seed, just for the purposes of, there are, I think and this might sound crazy to say, but I do think that there's one team out there that could potentially beat the 49ers or the Eagles. And that's the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, like, if you get the 1 seed, then you don't have to play, then it would probably be like 2 versus 3 would be San Francisco versus the Lions.
You're right.
Yeah.
So, and the reason we say that now is obvious. First of all, the Lions are a good team.
And they're 4-1,
but they beat the Chiefs,
right?
To start the season.
Right. Now, granted, there was no Travis Kelce, there was no Jones.
Right.
But, what can you say? I mean, they got a pretty good team.
Yeah.
So
they do.
So I think they're a team that can make some noise.
I agree. Could they beat the 49ers? The 49ers this year are a better team than the Chiefs are right now.
Yeah.
Even with Kelce. Even with Jones back in the lineup. The 49ers, from what I've watched, they are at the current time the most complete team in the NFL. We talked about this before the season. I said I thought the Eagles were the most complete team. I still think the Eagles are probably just as complete a team as the 49ers. They're just not playing on the level, even though they're both 5-0. They're just not playing on that level.
No.
Steve says, you don't want to play Dallas. Yeah, of course it's a division game. But look, Dallas.
I don't know, man. After watching last night, I'm not gonna be. Look, all division games, just like the Commanders game, they all seem to come down to the wire.
Yeah.
So look, that's just the way it is. So yeah, are we going to play 2 close games against Dallas? Yes. Is it realistic to think that we might split with Dallas? Probably, because we almost always do. But as far as being a team to be concerned about in the playoffs, I mean, at this moment in time, I'm not concerned at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like,
you're getting a little chesty, Mark.
They're just kind of, Dak Prescott, not a bad quarterback, middle of the rung, maybe a little higher than that, but he's nothing special.
Right.
And look, I mean, they just really don't have the playmakers. I mean, their best cornerback's out for the year.
Yep.
Well,
and I don't remember the team, but there was a team that just beat them that they figured out the formula for beating the Cowboys was basically as long as you triple team Micah Parsons,
right? And
it's not triple teaming him all at once. It's a chip and a double team, or a double team and then a chip, letting him run free. But if you just delay him long enough, that defense is not good.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it's nothing special.
No.
I mean, Dallas was throwing on them like crazy.
Yes.
I mean, the 49ers were throwing on Dallas like crazy. So
right.
So yeah, I mean, they're nothing to be overly concerned about.
Yeah. So who we got coming up next week? This is going to be a quick one today. Mark can't keep his eyes off the TV. I got a feeling he might have a Phil's report coming after this series or after this game. So at this point right now at 5-0, this is the trap game coming up.
Oh, the trap game
at the Jets. Classic trap game. My expectations are that, and it's in New York, so it's kind of like playing the Giants. You got the same kind of crowd, and the Giants are pretty bad this year too. We haven't even mentioned the Giants this year, and we're not going to,
right?
Until we have to.
They're pretty bad.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, I mean,
they should beat the Jets.
This
should be a win.
Yeah,
period.
I mean, look, the Jets have a good defense. Might they keep it close a while?
Yeah.
They very well might, but I think the Eagles will pull away in the third or the fourth quarter and win by, whatever, 10-15, something like that.
I don't know about that right now, only because the problem with the Jets is their defense is quick and it's good. It has a lot of speed, and that's a problem for any team. The problem with the offense is that it also has a lot of speed and talent, and the quarterback he's tough to read. He's not good,
right?
But he's got nothing to lose.
Well, the bottom line is, I mean, as crazy as it is to say, I mean, he does have talent.
Yeah.
It's not like he doesn't have talent.
Yes.
Like he's got a good arm.
Yes.
And he does have at least one really good receiver in Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
And
you've got Breece Hall.
Right. And you've got a good running game. So look, I mean, they're going to stay in the game, but I just have to believe that, without Aaron Rodgers, I can't see it happening.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that is we'll never know, and maybe Rodgers comes back next year. I know he's planning on it. He made some asinine comment that he might be ready to play again in January,
right?
As if they're going to make the playoffs. And if you make the playoffs with Zach Wheeler, you don't put Aaron Rodgers in. You ride it in the playoffs. That's what I would do if I was the coach. Well, he got you there.
Well, it all depends on how it happens, right? You know what I mean? Like if you win a bunch of games like 17-14, and every game you're scoring a defensive touchdown.
Well, that's different.
You know what I mean?
That would be highly unlikely, but it's not even worth talking about.
Oh, I mean, they're 2-3 though, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think they're 2-3.
Yeah,
so,
Yeah. So, yeah. So we got the Jets coming up this week. I expect it to be a little closer game than you do. I think they're going to make it a game, only because the Eagles are going, they're traveling. It's not like it's a long trip, but they're traveling up to New York into that atmosphere. And the Jets are an unknown. They don't play the Jets all the time. So game planning for that is basically just watching film. and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
I actually like the fact that the Jets won last week.
Oh yeah,
because it sort of like makes you not take them lightly.
Yeah,
and also too, I'm about like 99% sure on this. I believe that the Eagles have never lost to the Jets ever.
Yeah,
I think they're like 11-0 against the Jets.
I don't feel like checking that right now, but
I think they are.
Maybe I'll fact check you.
I think they are.
That's kind of an easy call to make though, because I think everybody has beaten the Jets, at least,
but not quite to that level.
No, you're probably right.
Not quite to that level.
All right, end of the first inning here. The Phillies are up 1-0. I think it was 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first for Zach Wheeler. So
let's go Phils.
You got anything you want to say about the Sixers or the Flyers? Or are we just going to call it a night because we got playoff baseball to watch?
Well, Sixers, what we're looking at here is you've got James Harden is still on the team.
Still working on a trade, supposedly.
Yeah, still working on a trade.
Right.
So hopefully we can get him off the team just because he's an annoyance.
Yes.
But, I mean, who the heck knows, man? I mean, Damian Lillard went to the Bucks, so he's now teaming up with Giannis.
Yep. Seems like everybody that they wanted to get has gone somewhere else anyway.
Drew Holiday is now on the Celtics.
Right.
But like they also lost two pieces for one in the guys that gave up to get Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, if the Sixers can get back like two decent role players, then they're in it just as much as anybody else.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like anybody really wants Harden.
Yeah, I mean,
if somebody's offered something, somebody out there said, "We'll take him, we'll give you this," and they're like, "Nah, we don't really want that."
Exactly.
So yeah, exactly. I have this strange feeling he's going to end up playing some basketball for the Sixers this year.
You think so?
Well, look, anything could happen. You've got a new coach and you got a GM who has said he's trying to trade him.
I think
you got a player that doesn't really want to be there.
I think there's honestly, I think 50-50. There's actually an interesting, decent chance now that he could end up in Miami.
Yeah.
Because Miami really lost out on Dame Lillard.
Right.
And and also they lost out on Drew Holiday, and really, like, Dame Lillard, Drew Holiday, and James Harden, they're all the same thing. They're all point guard.
Right.
So that's in a sense what they need. And if you look at them and you say, hey, we've been to the finals 2 out of the last 3 years, and we've got our butts whooped the last 2 times in the finals, we don't have enough. You're not going to do better than James Harden right now.
Yeah.
And like, hey, if you give us like a Tyler Hero who can, shoot 3-pointers, off the bench and be a 6th man of the year type, I think the Sixers will be in the game for it. So we'll see.
Well, the season's coming around and hockey season starts this week, and perhaps we'll have something to talk about in the future.
I mean, the best thing with the Flyers is I believe they have much better management in place now.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're going to be a little more competitive this year. I don't think it means they're a playoff team, but I think it means they'll probably be a little closer. Like they'll kind of hang in the conversation for a while.
Right.
So I'm good with that. I feel like they're, Steve says the Flyers need that Russian. They certainly do. Because he's, just a sniper out there in Russia.
Yeah.
And so, hopefully he'll come over soon. Could take a couple years. We'll see. But I think that they're making some pretty good decisions. It looks like 2 of the sort of prized rookies that the Flyers are pretty high on, who one of them, Tyson Forster, came up and had a really good couple games last year in the pros. And another one, Bobby Brink. I believe he was also a 1st round pick, either 1st or early 2nd. And he's looked really good in the preseason. So they're going to let, some young kids sort of, ride with it and see how they do. And also remember too, last year they were also completely decimated by injuries.
Yes.
So you've got a Sean Couturier, who's won, I forget the name of the trophy, but it's the best, two-way forward, something like that.
Yeah.
He won that a couple years ago.
You're going to get the trophy for the best three-way sports broadcaster.
Yeah. So, so that
sounds horrible.
You got Sean Couturier coming back. You got Cam Atkinson coming back.
Right.
So, you got some guys who can play coming back too. So we'll see. I'm sort of looking forward to it. In that it might be, a more watchable season.
There you go. Yeah. That's all we need. All right. We got the top of the second here. Rojas is at the plate for the Phillies. Fried is still on the mound for Atlanta. Of course, it's only the second inning.
He's up to 38 pitches here in the second inning.
Not bad. So we're going to let you guys go. We're going to let you guys watch the Phillies win this game. And we'll be back. All right. As always, thanks for watching the Sports Porch Philadelphia.
Thank you.
All over the world, online on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, YouTube. And of course, you can always grab the podcast, the Sports Porch Philadelphia, on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And hop on over to the Porch at theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com.
Theporcheslive.com. Only tab that matters, Philadelphia tab.
You got it. We got a couple comments here. They'll finish above whatever.
The Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we got their number.
All right. You want to say it, Schwaber?
Let's go, Fightins.